Alrighty, welcome everybody back to the channel. If you don't know who I am by now, my name is David. I also go by Miller Football, and today we're going to be continuing my draft coverage with my second film breakdown for the 2024 NFL offseason, talking about UCLA edge rusher Laiatu Latu, who I believe is worth a premium pick in the NFL draft. Was absolutely blown away by his tape. Had a ton of fun evaluating him, a ton of fun watching him. A lot of, oh my God, how did he pull that off moments on tape for sure. And the game that I enjoyed watching him in the most came against USC this past November. We got him against Caleb Williams, obviously a super fun matchup when you have an edge rusher that's always in the backfield and a quarterback that knows how to evade edge rushers. Iron sharpening iron, if you will. I had a ton of fun watching this game, so we're going to talk about some of my favorite plays from this game, talk about some pass rushing reps, some run defense, some strengths, a couple weaknesses here and there, and overall just enjoy the prospect that Latu is, because I haven't set up a full, my guys list. I will be doing that, making a video at some point, but I can guarantee you Latu will be a part of that. So before we jump into it, if you're excited for this video and excited for other draft content, hopefully coming out more consistently over the next couple weeks, don't forget to subscribe, as I'm going to be pumping out as much draft content as I can up until the draft. And then after the draft, we're going to be doing as much post-draft content, talking about teams, players, and everything in between going into the 2024 NFL season. And then the road will continue on forever and always. I love making content here on YouTube, love getting into this football stuff, so if you want to check out any of that, definitely make sure to subscribe down below. And if you want to see more draft film review content, leave a like, because it shows me that you guys are interested in this, shows your support, shows you care, and I really appreciate it. And also, if there's a specific player you want to see me talk about, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to take requests, but without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the film to check out Laiatu Latu against USC. All right, first play we're going to take a look at here is a really good example of run defense. We've got Latu in the B gap here, as opposed to being lined up outside on the edge. And we'll see once this ball is snapped, right away Latu does a fantastic job of getting leverage. This is something that on a consistent basis he does struggle with because he has such a long, tall frame. Being 6'5" and rather lanky, when he's lined up on the edge, it's hard for him to get that leverage. Lined up with his hand in the dirt here, he's able to kind of launch himself into the tackle. You can see the hand placement here, and then over here it would be also inside the shoulder, inside the arms here in the center of the chest. That's where the hand placement wants to be. Notice the wide footwork, exactly what he wants to do. Establishing a dominant base, and then the eye discipline watching the handoff. If this ball gets handed off to this running back, he knows it's probably coming through this gap or through that gap. He's in a position where he can quickly stack and shed, or if it's a passing play, you know, he's got a myriad of moves he knows he can whip out. USC's tackles are not that fantastic, so he knows he can just get himself right by this guy. So you're going to see right away, handoff. What's Latu doing? His feet are a little bit closer now, but still pretty far apart, still has that dominant base. He's freed up this hand to make his move a little bit easier for him. He's got that control with his right hand now, but he's still maintaining control over the tackle with the left hand. So you're going to see Latu does a great job of identifying where the back's going to go, quickly disengaging, diving into the backfield, wrapping him up, and assisting his teammate on the tackle for a negative play against the run, or a neutral play, excuse me, because it was 2nd and 1, it ends up being 3rd and 1, but still, a neutral play on 2nd and short is a damn good job by the defense. All right, here on this play, we've got Latu lined up in the B gap once again. This is going to be a passing play, so we're going to get to look at some of that pass rushing ability. So you'll see once this ball is snapped, Latu immediately attacks, the inside shoulder of this guard. I know it's a little bit difficult to see because there's this big old pole in the way, but I can assure you, it's not hard to tell from the angle he's taking, he's attacking the inside shoulder. And what he's going to do is drive this guard backwards and then try to use the momentum he gains from pushing this guard back to launch himself into Caleb Williams. So you'll see he does exactly that. Pushes the guard here. The guard has put him in a position where he's walling him off against Caleb. So now his goal is to go up and over. He does exactly that. And what happens here is because he's able to get so much pressure so quickly, alongside his teammates, obviously, you're getting some push here. You're getting a rusher that's about to be free here. Caleb has to launch this ball out, and it's incomplete. If you can make Caleb Williams, of all people, jittery and force a pass that's not open, or not open, but hasn't fully developed yet, and force him to throw an incomplete pass, you're doing something good. But I like this play because Latu shows a great understanding of, knowing how to bend linemen to his will, and this is a great example of that. Run it back one more time here. The ability to use this lineman's momentum against him is just fantastic. And the swim move, obviously, is also pretty lethal. All right, here we've got Latu once again lined up in the B gap. I know I was hyping him up in the intro as one of, if not the best edge rusher in the class, and I've only shown him lining up in the B gap, but the versatility's there. In this USC game, I was really impressed with how much he was lining up in the B gap here, because it shows me he's capable of rushing with his hand in the dirt. So I went into this assuming, hearing all the Jalen Phillip comps and whatnot, that he would be like an off-ball edge only, right? Has to stand up, has to be a 3-4 outside linebacker. I think he can play with his hand in the dirt. And we're going to see a great example of that here against the run. So what we're going to get here is, as this ball is snapped, Latu, hands are a little wide, but it's okay because the idea here is just to get engaged, wide base to set up that anchor, eyes in the backfield watching this handoff. Once this ball is handed off, Latu plays it for a second and then hits a nasty swim move. See if I can't rewind that. This swim move is nasty. Just up and over him with ease. Eyes immediately locked on the running back, and he's just going to run back there, wrap him up, and get himself a tackle behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage. Either way, beautiful swim move, beautiful play, showing he's capable of playing with his hand in the dirt. So anyone who thinks he's just an outside linebacker and a 3-4 type edge rusher, including myself when I was going into this, maybe that's not the case. All right, this next play here makes me a little sad because everything is perfect up until he gets in the backfield, right? So his ball snapped, you see him lined up directly over top of the guard here, this time as a stand-up rusher. And he does a great job hand fighting, getting in the backfield, but he loses his balance and trips. He does get back up and pushes Caleb to the sideline, so Caleb has to dump this ball off. But something I'm a little concerned about, we've got Latu right here, is his balance. His balance is not ideal in my eyes. So watching this play from this angle, the move's perfect. I mean, you get your hands wide on the lineman, throw him to the side quickly, go up and over him, but that lineman, he's able to get his hand in there, trip you. You're not able to maintain your balance. Can't quite get to Caleb. But like I said, you do flush him out. You do force him to dump the ball off. So not a negative play by any means, but the balance is definitely something to keep an eye on in spite of the incredible tools that Latu possesses. All right, I wanted to show this play off because we get a really nice play from Latu, but also it's just an example of like Caleb Williams being inhuman. So let's go ahead. We'll let this run. Latu does a great job hand fighting, slipping into the backfield, and Caleb Williams just claims his ankles. Ends up fading this down the sideline. Caleb Williams doing Caleb Williams things. But let's take a look at the hand fighting here. Latu's ability with his hands is incredible. So you get him here up against the tackle. Does a great job of swiping the tackle's hands away and, jumping into the guard here. That little hop jump, that little hop chop move is kind of like his best move in his bag, I would say. And he does a good job bouncing off the guard here. It's just, if Caleb Williams was any other quarterback, this is a sack. If this is against any other QB, this is a sack. But because it's Caleb, Latu gets stunned. He's like, what the hell just happened? And before he can realize what the hell just happened, he's got a guard behind him, flattening him, and Caleb's able to commit some sorcery here. But I want to run this hop chop back again from this angle. Let's see, there we go. I mean, this is beautiful. You get the hands here. We'll get the tool out. I keep forgetting I have this. You get the hand fighting right here. Before the tackle can even get his hands up, you've got Latu swiping him down and hopping across his body to get himself in the backfield. And then we'll watch it from the other angle again, because I'm just obsessed with this move. This move is, I wouldn't say his go-to. He doesn't really have a quote-unquote go-to move because he switches up his moves quite a bit. But this This is my favorite of his. So this tackle, he doesn't even get a chance. He doesn't even stand a chance against that hop chop. And then that guard. I mean, Latu didn't stand a chance when he got in the backfield. But at the end of the day, this play is a great example of two of what I would say are the top 10 players in this draft. Just being incredible athletes. Just Caleb being a little bit better. Something I often look for when I'm watching tape for especially defensive linemen, but any defender in general, is do they have the capacity to set up their teammates, right? Can they make plays that put their teammates in positions to be successful? And that's exactly what we're going to see from Latu here. So first of all, he's going to bully this tackle as per usual. Quick hand fighting, hands in the chest, as I always preach. We're starting to get a little bit of bend here. Switch back to my pointer. Kind of swats the arm down, you can see right here. And he's going to get up underneath. He's going to start to bend the corner. And that forces Caleb Williams to step up in the pocket. But because of the way things are unfolding, you've got a defender here. And you've still got Latu with the ability to loop around. So what's going to happen? They're going to meet at the quarterback. There's a sack party. We're meeting at the quarterback. Somebody else gets involved at the end. We'll peep here from the other angle as well. So again, quick hand fighting lets the tackle get his hand on the shoulder, so he doesn't have the leverage in this situation. Gets up underneath of him. Good bend, good ankle flexion, keeps himself upright, doesn't lose his balance, and again forces Caleb to step up into the path of his teammate for the sack. Pretty sizable play there, and. You know, just like I said, you always want to see top defenders set up for their teammates. It's not something that's ever going to show up on the stat sheet, but it's something that film nerds like myself will love. And obviously when you're in the locker room, that's something where coach is going to be like, hey man, hell of a job setting up for your teammate right there. And your teammate's going to love it when his stats go up as well. All right, so if you've read my scouting report on Latu, you've probably already seen that one of my big issues with him is run discipline, or specifically gap discipline. And not that he doesn't possess the ability to hold a gap or play his gap correctly. It's more the fact that there's a lot of times where he'll decide he doesn't want to and he'll just shoot a gap. But plays like this show me there's hope. And if you get him into the NFL and a coach can be like, hey kid, this ain't college football anymore. Okay, you can't just shoot gaps all willy-nilly. You got to play your run. You got to play your lane. You got to play your gap correctly. I feel like we can get some pretty special stuff. So once again, lined up, this time over top of the guard. I believe maybe he's in the B gap. I don't know. Either way, lined up with his hand in the dirt. He's going to fire off, engage with the guard. The guard goes to move to the second level. He takes on the center. Eyes are in the backfield, staring down this running back. Like I've already said, eye discipline is fantastic. Does a great job of pushing this center back. So he's actually generating a little bit of power here. He's somebody that, being 6'5" and a little bit of skinnier build and being so quick, you wouldn't think he'd be able to generate power. But he's generating legitimate power here, pushing this center back. This running back can't go in this hole. He can't go out here, so he's forced to bounce his ball all the way out here. So Latu does a great job of playing his gap correctly, reading the blocks correctly, and holding his ground so the running back can't make the play here. He has to bounce this outside. What's this goober going to do? He's going to fumble. One of Latu's teammates going to pick it up, and he's going to run it in for the touchdown. We'll take a look from the other angle as well. So once again, Latu here, he is in the B gap. He's shading over top of the guard, but he's sitting in the B gap for all intents and purposes here. So like I said, eyes paying no attention to the guy in front of him. He's watching that football. Takes on the guard, brushes him off, takes the center on, head on, starts to drive him back, puts himself here. Him and this play right here, I forget if this is a linebacker or a defensive lineman, they completely close up this gap. You're not going here. You're not bouncing this outside because of where this guy is, so you have to bounce this across. And because this running back has to do so much on this play, right here, he gets tripped, loses control of the ball, and UCLA is able to take this one in for a touchdown. So just really good fundamentals from Latu. Like I said, the run discipline is absolutely there. The gap discipline, keep saying run discipline. The run discipline and the gap discipline are absolutely there. It's just a matter of getting him to, you know, kind of calm down and realize he can't just shoot gaps every play. And I definitely think that's possible with a little bit of NFL coaching once he realizes that this ain't college anymore. This is the big leagues. We hear a lot of talk about players who have a high motor, have a motor that's always running, it runs hot, whatever you want to say. And it's really important, especially for defensive players who, will get themselves in bad positions and need to recover and get themselves back in the play. And Latu is a prime example of that. His motor is always going. He's like the Energizer Bunny out there. If the Energizer Bunny was a 6'5" Polynesian freak of nature that could kill your quarterback if he wanted to. But specifically, I know a lot of Bears fans are subscribed to be on here. We hear Matt Eberflus talk about the HITS principle. First letter H, hustle. This is textbook hustle right here from Laiatu Latu. So let's go ahead and check this out. So first of all, hand fighting, ends up swatting the guard's hands down, slips between him and the tackle, gets in the backfield, forces Caleb to move. He almost gets pushed over, I should say, by this tackle, but he manages to land on his hands, so he's able to recover quickly, and he's back in pursuit. He loops all the way up around and ends up tackling Caleb, or touching Caleb down, I guess, because he ends up sliding here. But the effort here to go from getting obviously beat, put almost in the ground by this tackle, to getting in on the tackle at the end is pretty awesome. Again, just good eye discipline, doesn't lose sight of the ball, doesn't lose sight of Caleb, ends up tracking him down and making a play for neutral gain, loss of one, whatever it was. Just a really good hustle play, and obviously that move at the beginning with the hand fighting was incredible. Here's a really good example of Latu and his wanting to shoot gaps all the time, that little bit of his game, but it works out for him here. Not in the sense that he shoots the right gap, but he does save himself. So you see right away, as I keep preaching, eye discipline. Eyes are in the backfield, handoffs over here. Obviously his eyes are more over here. He's not just looking into the abyss, but he's going to stack and shed here beautifully. He's bobbing and weaving with this lineman, waiting to see where this running back's going to go. He thinks this running back is trying to cut up this lane, which he very well may be. In fact, that looks like where this play is probably trying to go, especially with the way this lineman is blocking and the way this lineman is blocking. So Latu actually does shoot this gap correctly. I guess I shouldn't say this is a bad example of him shooting a gap, but what ends up happening is he actually tries to cut this back inside because of Latu shooting the gap, which, if there isn't the defender getting a hand here, he can cut this back inside. That's a touchdown because he hit the wrong gap. But because you've got this defender here kind of bailing him out, and you've got this lineman on the ground in the gap where he's trying to go, the running back ends up tripping, going for maybe a yard, a yard, not back to the line of scrimmage, because up there's the line of scrimmage. So he gets a yard rather than a big gain. But this one, if Latu doesn't, if this edge rusher over here doesn't get a hand on him, and if Latu doesn't knock this lineman perfectly into his lane, then this could have been a big run. I mean, you can see that lane start to kind of open up. That could have been a real big run, probably for a touchdown. He'd be one-on-one with this DB, and I haven't watched UCLA's DB, so I don't know who this is or if he's any good, but, you don't want your running back, or you don't want your safety one-on-one with a running back inside the 10-yard line. So it gets a little bailed out. I'm not going to say bailed out. He gets a little lucky here, but, football's a game of luck, right? If you get lucky on a play or two, then so be it. I wouldn't call this a net negative for Latu, but you definitely want to see a little more discipline with the gaps here. I'm just going to let this rep play, and then we'll talk about it from the end zone angle. I mean, come on. It doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get any smoother or picture perfect than what we just saw from Latu. So you've got him lined up over top of the tackle here, and he's going to attack this guard. So quick hand placement. He's a little more upright. Like I said, it's hard for him to get leverage when he's not lined up with his hand in the dirt because he's so tall, right? So hand placement outside, quick swim move right over top of the guy's arm. Caleb's not paying a lick of attention, and Latu's able to get back there, just quickly wrap him up. It's not a play that requires a whole lot of explaining. It's just a beautiful, beautiful rep. All right, we're going to cook here. We've got Latu. You can see him lined up here. I don't know why I felt the need to circle him, because there's a big old arrow pointing to him. But the key here, last three plays have all been in a row. The last two plays and then this play have all been one after another. So we've got a third, and I believe it said 14. Let's see what Latu does on 3rd and 14. So he quickly attacks this tackle. Hand fighting is instant, but once he gets around this tackle, he's going to have to deal with the running back, right? He's going to get double teamed here. Latu does a great job of slipping through him. Caleb tries to pull the trigger before Latu can get to him. He has to hesitate for just a moment because Latu's got his arm in there, and he helps bring him down. Can't quite bring him down himself, but he sets up his teammate to bring him down. We'll watch it from this angle to get you a little bit of a clearer look. So again, the hand placement, the hand fighting. The balance when he's engaged with another lineman is fantastic. When I talk about his balance, my concern is when he first gets out of that engagement, like when he sheds the block, every once in a while he'll fall over, right? But the ankle flexion here, you can see he's basically on his tiptoes, the way he's stretched out, gets up underneath of him, slips by the running back, gets his arm up on top of Caleb's arm so he can't throw the ball without worrying about fumbling it, and ends up helping bring him down for the sack, preventing what probably could have been a touchdown. Because if we go back here, oh, I was thinking right here, I was looking at this guy and I was like, ooh, that's a touchdown. But no, if you keep playing it, there's a DB right there. So, but either way, really good play on 3rd and 14 to bring up a 4th down situation inside the red zone. So Latu went nuclear and like the late 3rd, early 4th quarter of this game and throughout the 4th quarter. This is kind of where that starts to pick up. So we've got him lined up wide here, and we're just going to watch him force Caleb to throw the ball away. So quick engagement. Again, he's got the leverage. He's got the inside hand placement. He's got the ankle flexion. He's got everything going for him here. So you're going to see he frees up this hand to make his move here a little bit easier. What's going to actually end up happening is we talked about that momentum a little bit earlier, him swinging that momentum. This is a better example of that. So what he's doing is he's driving this tackle backward. And by driving him backward and being substantially quicker than him, he's forcing his feet here to work like double, triple time. And this lineman simply cannot handle it, so he's lost leverage in the situation. Latu, realizing that, uses the fact that he's gliding inward to throw this lineman and go up over top of him to find his way into the pocket here. So you can see he tosses that lineman with one hand. This lineman gets like the secondary effects, second-hand effects is what I'm trying to say of it. So Caleb has to force this ball out quickly. His receiver's just starting to break, isn't turned around, so he has to place this ball out above him. Ends up falling over. Ball falls incomplete. Let's just check out, again, like I said, Latu's really good at manipulating tackles. He's really good at bending lineman tackles and guards specifically to his whim, or at his whim, to his will. So that quick toss, that's like, God, who was it? It was Khalil Mack against Tristan Wirfs when Khalil Mack was on the Bears. Hopefully I remember to put a clip of that over top of this. When Khalil Mack absolutely tossed him, that's what that gives me vibes of. Obviously much different in terms of skill level because I don't think that USC tackle is any good, but still the same idea. Badass offensive, or badass defensive lineman, excuse me, tossing an offensive lineman to try to get to the quarterback, and it's one of my favorite things to see in football. All right, Latu lined up in the B gap again. We're going to see some good old-fashioned edge setting against the run. Something I'll admit I was a little concerned about with Latu when I first turned on his tape, before I had really gotten into it, because I was like, okay, this guy's tall, he's lanky, I'm worried about the power profile. He shows he's got it just fine here. So what we're going to get is Latu mirrors the tackle here, steps inside with him, eyes in the backfield watching this handoff. He's engaged with this tackle, and what he's going to do is he's just going to keep this tackle right here. Because if he keeps this tackle right here, there's no possible way this running back can bounce it back into all this open space. Because you've got Latu that can crash down on him, you got this guy who can crash down on him. That's what we call setting the edge. Making it so the running back can't bounce the ball outside. Tries to bounce it inside, well, you've got a UCLA player already penetrating. So he's going to have to try to bounce it outside. Tries to bounce it outside. Latu gets this tackle distracted, tosses him to the side. He's able to close on that running back in an instant. Wraps him up with the help of a teammate. Just some beautiful run defense, man. I know run defense isn't sexy. It isn't exciting. I don't care. Watching defensive ends and edge rushers that don't look like they should be good against the run, dominate against the run, it gets me going, right? I love that shit. So, awesome play there by Latu. All right, we've talked a lot about Latu's bend. Here's a great example of that. We've got a second and long situation, or 2nd and 10, excuse me, after that run went nowhere. This is the very next play. So we're going to get Latu, quick engagement. Again, hands inside the chest. His hand placement is superb. Gets up underneath of the tackle. Really good rip move. Really good job keeping himself, I don't know why I'm trying to make it look like he's keeping himself level. Keeping his balance, right? Not falling to the ground by getting up underneath the tackle. The ankle flexion here, keeping his foot on the ground while bending his ankle is fantastic. He slips up underneath, still keeps his footing. Now, if his balance was maybe a tad bit better, he could wrap up Caleb here. Even though he can't, though, he's able to stumble into Caleb, which forces him to throw this ball very quickly to this tight end, who gets closed on almost immediately. You'll see right there. It's closed on immediately. Can't go anywhere. Brings up like a 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8 situation. But if we run it from this angle here, just the ability to keep himself upright. Rip move is absolutely nasty. You can see the feet are still pointed at the quarterback, so he's keeping his balance, keeping himself in rhythm. Recovers very well here. A lot of edge rushers, you know, they'd stumble and fall here, so maybe I'm underrating his balance a little bit. His recovery is pretty good if his balance isn't. So you see he's able to recover himself here, not quite get upright, but get himself in a position where he can start moving towards Caleb. And he drives Caleb out of the pocket into another rusher, forces him to dump that off, and it goes for a limited gain. So as I'm watching this, maybe my opinion's changing a little bit. You know, maybe his balance is a little bit better than I'm giving him credit for, but at the very least, I like his recovery balance, right? His ability to recover when he starts to get put off balance. So really good play there by Latu for like the 3rd straight play on this drive. Real quick, in case you didn't already know, Laiatu Latu ran a 4.6 4.40. Let's go ahead and watch what that looks like on film. So you're going to see right here, does a beautiful job of quickly getting to the tackle, does his little hop chop move, gets underneath, ends up sprinting towards Caleb, forces Caleb to throw this ball away. We'll take a look at it from the other angle, get a better idea here. So first of all, look how quickly and look how big this dude is up out of his stance. He's scared. Laiatu Latu has him shitting bricks. Is this a false start? No, the ball's already being snapped. He just got out of that stance wicked fast. So Laiatu Latu, I just learned how to say his name between takes, so I'm trying to get it down. Laiatu Latu does a great job of attacking this outside shoulder, going up and underneath and getting behind this tackle. So he does a great job again, that hop chop move, underneath, bends around, sprints towards Caleb, forces Caleb to throw some goofy ass throw to, I don't know if this is a tight end or a big ass white receiver, but either way, awesome job by Latu. And shout out to that tackle for really trying his hardest to stop Latu on the play. All right, I want to keep this one brief because this isn't like a crazy play or anything. I love the diagnostics and eye discipline from Latu, but I also kind of want to just show this play off because Caleb Williams does some goofy shit. We love when Caleb Williams does some goofy shit. So first of all, you see Latu watching the handoff, right? He's going to sprint in the backfield, does a good job of not overcommitting to the play, waiting to see what the handoff is. He notices right here, Caleb still got that football. So he's just going to set up shop here, try to get in Caleb's way. But because Caleb is Caleb, he somehow manages to underhand this shit underneath of Latu and complete it. Doesn't go for a huge gain. But like, this is just silly. This is just a silly, goofy play. Latu plays it perfectly. Caleb's just a silly, goofy guy that can do some silly, goofy shit with the ball. All right, for all the people out there who hate run defense, I'm sorry, here's more. We got Latu lined up behind one of his linemen in the B gap, but like shading the B gap, kind of. I don't know, shadowing maybe? I don't know. I don't know what you consider that. I'm sure there's a technical term for it. I don't know it. I'll be totally transparent. But as I've preached all day, Latu, eyes in the backfield. He's watching the ball. He doesn't care about this lineman in front of him. In fact, he doesn't care about him so much that he gets a perfect wide base and sticks one hand out to block him. Or not block him, but hold him off, right? He's holding his own here. Does a great job of kind of resetting himself. And this is exactly where you want to be. Hands in the chest, wide base, and he's staring at the running back. Now, you've got a lineman pulling, which is going to create an issue. Because if he can come here and he can help double team Latu, you're going to open up a big lane here. So what's Latu do? He steps into the block. And by stepping into the block, 75 is going to get a little bit of pushback, but also have to regain his footing because right now his feet are up underneath of him too far forward. You want it a little far back. So what you want to do is you want to clog up this lane. He does a great job of clogging up this lane. And even though he gets pushed back, because this line, I think I said 75, it's 71. Because he's right here, you can see he's actively blocking off this running back. The way this play was supposed to play out, this running back should be here by now with this receiver taking on this DB. And if he can hold his block, this running back should be just about gone. But instead what happens, because Latu's able to create a little bit, just that little bit of friction, you're going to have someone here that can swarm in, you're going to have someone here that can swarm in, and this run is going to go nowhere. Now, the running back does try to bounce it outside. 51's right there to wall that off. He tries to bounce it back inside. You got 2 here. Basically, you know, we talk about a Rube Goldberg machine, right? He was the catalyst that set off a Rube Goldberg machine of linemen getting in the way of linemen and making it so this running back couldn't move. Run it back one more time in full speed just to show you. So again, he takes that step, engages with that first lineman, steps outside, makes eye contact, basically makes eye contact with this pulling guard, steps into him, and that creates a whole lot of friction for this running back to go a whole lot of nowhere. We'll keep this one quick, but last year we saw a trend of edge rushers lining up over top of the center and making centers look absolutely goofy. Here we've got Latu doing exactly that. So you'll see ball snapped here. Quick little swim move over top of him, slip into the backfield, force Caleb to throw an inaccurate pass. Beautiful stuff. We'll watch it from the other angle just so you can see it from a little bit better of an angle. So that swim move is perfect. Hand placement on the shoulder, arm up and over, survives getting pushed, and ends up forcing Caleb to throw that ball incomplete. So I just wanted to show that one off because it shows that Latu's capable of keeping up with the trends. All the stuff you want an edge rusher to do in the NFL, he can do. And I wasn't going to include this one because we've already seen so many great swim moves, but one more for the road. Latu lined up over top of the guard, 6 swim move, gets in the backfield, forces Caleb to step up and throw this ball away. Watch it from the other angle real quick. Swim move, perfect execution. Once again, hand on the shoulder, other arm over top, gets in the backfield, survives getting pushed a little bit, does a great job of recovering. Can't quite bring him down, but he does force him to step up and throw the ball out of the back of the end zone to get no gain. But anyways, folks, there you have it. Laiatu Latu of the UCLA Bruins. Reminds me a lot of Josh Allen, not the quarterback, but the better one. So definitely rooting hard for him when he gets into the league. Not a lot of guys overcome the obstacle that he was able to overcome, medically retiring from football as a sophomore in college, and then being able to not only transfer and continue playing, but be one of the most productive college pass rushers ever. Led the country in pass rush win rate back-to-back years. The dude's incredible. He's utterly incredible. He is going to be a superstar for whatever team gets a hold of him. He can fit in a 3-4. He can fit in a 4-3. He can play with his hand in the dirt. He can rush standing up. He's going to be awesome. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you're all as excited as I am to see where he ends up in late April. Gotta tell you, if Rome Odunze and Malik Neighbors aren't there at 9 for the Bears, I wouldn't mind them taking a swing at Laiatu Latu, seeing what he could bring to the table opposite Montez Sweat, but that's neither here nor there. As long as he doesn't end up on a different NFC North team, I'm going to be rooting like hell for this guy. Definitely one of my guys, my earliest my guys in the 2024 draft process. I know saying early in March is suspect, but like I said, I haven't gotten that list together yet. But all that being said, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like down below, as it does help out the channel a ton, shows your support, shows you care, all that good stuff, and I really appreciate it. And also don't forget to subscribe for more draft content coming your way all the way up until the draft in late April. And to everyone out there watching, I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, night, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you enjoy it, because you're all wonderful people, and you deserve it.
Had a chance on the throwback.
This was an ill-advised throw. What an unbelievable catch by Cole Kmet. And he cups it too. No movement when he hits the ground, tucked up against his shoulder. Wow.
Using that